Hi guys, I'm Samina and welcome to the Cupcake Confession where I show you how you can learn to make amazing decadent desserts and sweet treats. If this is something that you enjoy, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you do that, also don't forget to ding this little bell button. That way you will be notified every time I post a new recipe. Today we're making these deliciously squishy, fluffy, soft and cloud-like lavender marshmallows, and they pair so well with your mug of hot cocoa. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is steep or infuse the flavor of lavender into the water. So I am going to steep the lavender buds in hot boiling water, cover the bowl with some aluminium foil and let it steep for about 5 minutes. Lavender by itself has a very strong flavor, so you're just going to add a little bit at a time and you're just going to let it infuse. After about 5 minutes, we're going to take the aluminium foil off and you will see that the water is now flavored with lavender and even the color will change. When you strain the water into a cup or a bowl, you'll see that it has a nice lilac color. We are now going to prepare our baking tray or the tray in which the marshmallows will set. So here I have some cornflour and icing sugar in equal parts. I'm going to combine that into a bowl, use my whisk to mix it all together so it's well combined, and I'm going to first grease the tray with some flavorless oil. I also like to add a sheet of parchment to the bottom, so it just helps to easily get the marshmallow slab out after it has set. I'm going to add this cornflour and icing sugar mix and shuffle the tray through so it mixes and it coats every side of the tray well. What this does is it prevents the marshmallow from drying out, and additionally it also ensures that the marshmallow does not stick to your fingers. Now we're going to go on and make our actual marshmallow. So first we're going to activate or bloom the gelatin. So I'm taking 6 tablespoons of that lavender water that we just made, and I'm going to sprinkle some of this unflavored gelatin powder onto this water and let it bloom for about 10 to 15 minutes. So while that is activating, we're going to go on and make our sugar syrup. So I'm going to take the rest of the lavender water and add it to my caster sugar in a heavy bottom saucepan. Using my whisk, I'm going to whisk this on medium-high heat until all of the sugar has dissolved. And once the sugar has dissolved, it is very, very important that you take the whisk away. You're not going to add anything else to this or use your spoon. You're just going to let the sugar and the water do its magic. And I'm going to clip in a candy thermometer because it will help me understand what temperature the sugar is at. So we are looking for it to reach soft ball or 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So just before it reaches that stage, it takes about 8 minutes. So at the 7-minute mark, I'm going to start whisking my activated gelatin on low speed just to break it up. And then once the sugar has reached the temperature, I'm going to clip the thermometer and unclip it and put it out and start pouring this hot sugar syrup in a steady, gentle stream along the side of the bowl. Now you have to be very careful because this syrup is extremely hot, and if it comes in contact with your skin, it's really going to burn you. So be very, very careful and pour it gently on low speed. Once you've added all of the sugar syrup, I would recommend cranking the speed up to about 6 on the stand mixer and let it beat for about 8 minutes. You will feel that the sides of the bowl are very hot right now, but as it keeps moving and as it keeps whisking, it's going to cool down. So at about the 6-minute mark, I'm going to add my food color. So I've added a mix of red, pink and blue to give it a nice lavender lilac color. So I'm going to keep mixing this, and after about 8 minutes, when you lift the whisk off the stand mixer, you will see that it falls into a nice ribbon and it's thick and fluffy. It's almost like this is marshmallow fluff basically. So now it's time for us to pour this hot, fairly warm mix into our prepared tin. So you should be able to kind of get it out of the bowl easily in this ribbon like method, and whatever is left over, you can take an oiled spatula and just scoop all of this marshmallow out. But you have to work fast because as it cools down, it becomes more and more difficult to deal with it. It becomes very sticky. It still is sticky, but it just becomes more difficult. So while it's still warm, just pour everything out. And then while it's still wet, you're going to just sprinkle a few of these dried edible lavender buds on top. And finally, then you're just going to dust the surface with that cornflour icing sugar mix. And once you've done that, it's very important to wrap this all up. Create an airtight environment with cling wrap. I would recommend pressing the cling wrap to the surface of the lavender marshmallows so it doesn't dry out. Then you're going to let it set overnight, or 24 hours is best. Then when it's ready, you're going to just lightly dust your cutting board with the cornflour and icing sugar mix and plop your marshmallow onto the cutting board. Invert it, and then you're just going to grease your knife. It's very important because otherwise it's just going to stick to the knife. And you're just going to slice it into 16 equal squares. Now, one important note is that between each cut, it's very important to clean your knife and grease it again, because otherwise it's just going to create untidy marshmallow cuts, and you don't want that. So once you have sliced all of the marshmallows, I'm just going to show you what it looks like on the inside. They are so fluffy and they're just like really nice and squishy. So I'm just going to now dust each of these with some cornflour and icing sugar mix, just so they don't stick to your fingers. So just put a bunch of these into a bowl containing the cornflour and icing sugar mix and dust them out in the sieve. Look at how squishy and fluffy that is. It would be so perfect just to eat it like this, just the way it is, or just plop them into your customary winter hot chocolate mug, and here you have the most delicious lavender marshmallows. If you have any comments or suggestions, pop them down in the comments below. I post a new recipe every Tuesday and Thursday, so if this is something that you enjoy and if you want to be notified every time I post a new recipe, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you do that, also don't forget to ding this little bell button. I'll see you again next time. Bye.